Congress is considering a budget bill that includes nearly $300 billion in cuts from the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, what used to be known as food stamps. That's a 30% cut, the largest in history. It also threatens to put a heavier burden on food banks. Ashley St. Thomas is the Director of Public Policy at the Arizona Food Bank Network. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This budget, just give me your general thoughts and we'll take it from there regarding this bill and what it does and what it means.
Yeah, in no uncertain terms, this bill or cuts of this magnitude to SNAP would increase food insecurity in Arizona and across the country. And certainly the impact would affect food banks. Demand would rise. Currently, our food banks are serving 700,000 people each month, which is record-breaking. That's higher than even during the peak months of the pandemic.
I was going to ask about comparing these times and what could happen with this bill in the pandemic. We'll get to that again in a second here. But you mentioned SNAP and I mentioned the supplemental. What is that?
SNAP is a grocery purchasing benefit that families who are low income are eligible for with other regulatory stipulations, but that's what the benefit does.
And the bill basically says what? We're cutting the benefits, we're adding to work requirements, those sorts of things?
Yeah, so it's not just en masse cut, it's structural changes to the program, which has existed in its current form since around 1964. And this would be the first time cuts of this magnitude are being discussed. And they're primarily going to be done in three ways. One is cost sharing with states for the first time ever. The benefits to date have been fully federally funded, but this would be the first time the state would be required to put in money for the benefits. There would be expansion of work requirements, like you said, and then a recalculation of the benefit would no longer be allowed. So ultimately, it just keeps the keeps the rate static.
Yeah, so in other words, inflation not even a factor here.
Correct, yeah, ultimately, and it doesn't take into account people's nutritional needs. Data changes all the time about how people purchase and cook food, and so the way the benefit is calculated now takes that into account, but it needs to be adapted every year, right? And so as grocery prices rise, it wouldn't adapt to that.
You mentioned cost sharing with states. Is Arizona able, willing to pick up some slack here?
It's unclear. It's unclear how this is going to work and what it means if a state can't put in what's being required of it by the federal government. That hasn't been hammered out yet. But we know that Arizona would likely be required to put in about $500 million for the first year. And if you know, you mentioned the state budget is moving forward this week, and it's kind of a non-starter at that price.
Yeah, that's an awful lot of money. Okay, so what you got, I would imagine, is a lot of folks who can't pay grocery bills, and a lot of folks who can't pay grocery bills look to food banks for assistance. How much do you see that increasing if this, as it stands, goes through?
Well, I can't give you a percentage, but I know obviously people who are participating in SNAP, they're children, they're seniors, they're people living with disabilities, they're working parents, and they're barely making ends meet, right? They need that assistance, $6 per day on average here in Arizona to make ends meet. And so when they don't have that, they turn to food banks. And like I said, our food banks are already stretched thin. And food banks are resilient, and they always find a way. They're embedded in their communities. They do everything they can, but at some point, there has to be a breaking point.
Yeah, and I imagine rural areas would get hit especially hard.
Yes, absolutely. We know that food insecurity is highest in our rural areas. Apache County has one of the highest rates in the country. And so that would be exacerbated, obviously, because retailers are far away from where people live. Transportation isn't the best, and so that's how we see that food insecurity rate high now. And with this lack of access to SNAP, it can only increase.
We've done a number of topics, a number of shows, I should say, on this particular topic in a variety of ways. This is the first time we've talked to food banks, and I always ask, are you hearing anything from federal officials, from state officials? I mean, obviously federal is what we're looking at right now, but state would have to, as I said, would have to pick up some kind of slack here. What are you hearing?
I think we're hearing what you would expect, which is that this is really devastating to our food banks and our families, our retailers, our farmers. Whether there's the political will to do something about it, I don't know.
And we always hear, as far as those who support the cuts and the rollbacks and such, that I think waste, fraud, and abuse seems to be the catchphrase right now. Do they have a point? Is there some way to tighten things up here without, again, putting families in a position where they have to go to food banks?
I think waste, fraud, and abuse, what we see most is at the high level, criminal enterprises that are basically stealing people's benefits before they even get them, before they're released to the card. We've seen it here in Arizona, we've seen it in other states, and the bill doesn't do anything to address that or to reimburse families who have that stolen from them, which is really hard to see.
Last question, Ashley. Are you optimistic at all?
That's a difficult question. I will say that food banks are nonpartisan. We work with people on both sides of the aisle, and we've seen support from people on both sides of the aisle. So I just hope that when our congressmen and state lawmakers are making their decisions, they're thinking about families who are struggling, who are just really trying to get by.
Ashley St. Thomas, again, Arizona Food Bank Network. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.